the insult or the smile, because her narcissistic husband, he always smiled. This is Annie's story, and I'm telling it for her. Annie and her husband were out to dinner one night. It was just the two of them, and just for a brief moment, Annie actually thought that it was going to be a nice evening. She ordered the chicken Alfredo. She loved that. It was something she normally wouldn't cook at home. She was about halfway through the meal when Santino flagged down the server, and he says, "Could you bring a to-go box?" And then he kind of chuckled a little bit. You know, with her weight, she doesn't need to finish all of that. He didn't look at the server. He was looking directly at Annie. Out of the corner of her eye, Annie could see the server hesitate for a second, then nodded and walked away. Annie remembers her fork just freezing in the moment. The warmth of the food vanished. All she could feel was the heat rising into her cheeks. She gave the tiniest smile she could manage, the kind you give when you're not sure what you're supposed to do, if you're supposed to laugh, cry, or just vanish. Another time at a different restaurant, different night altogether, something similar happened. But this time, when the check came, her husband glanced at the server and said, "I guess I have to pay again." She's so used to me taking care of her, she would never think to treat me. And then he laughed. "Oh, I'm just kidding." But the damage was done. The server looked away and he looked down, and somewhere deep inside, she added this to the growing list of memories labeled, "I can't talk about this again." Because really none of it was about the food. I don't know if Annie knew it at the time. It wasn't about the money either. It was about control, served cold in public with a grin. If you've lived anything like this, you know the shame isn't in the words themselves. It's in that very moment when someone you love tries to embarrass you, when they treat your body like a punchline, when they humiliate you under the pretense of humor. Of course, they're always going to say, "It was just a joke." But what they don't say, and what they will never admit, is that the performance was the point. The laughter wasn't even for you. It was for everyone else. You start to second guess yourself after those moments. You ask, was it really all that bad? Maybe it was supposed to be a funny joke. Maybe I just don't know how to take it. I'm so sensitive. I'm here to tell you that no, you are not imagining it. You've been made into the punchline so they could stay in control. And if a stranger happened to raise an eyebrow or look away, you might cling to that tiny, silent validation like a lifeline. Because even a glance of discomfort from someone else can feel like the only truth being spoken in the room. This one is for the person who ordered what she or he wanted until someone made them feel ashamed. This one is for who smiled politely when she was mocked in public, then sat in silence all the way home. This is for the one who practiced shrinking just to avoid being noticed, or worse, to be laughed at. This is for the one who stopped going out to eat because it no longer felt safe. This is for the man or the woman whose voice trembled when they said, "I'll just take a salad." You're not too sensitive. You were too kind for too long, because you deserve to eat in peace, to speak without flinching, and to exist without an apology. I'm Kyle Hackley, attorney, author of Undercurrent, and the host of the Are You Annie podcast. Annie's story is the reason that this podcast exists. Her journey through the shadows of narcissistic abuse and her fight to reclaim her voice, it represents a truth so many of us have lived but never felt comfortable enough to speak. And you are the reason we continue to grow. The goal here is to build a community of men and women standing together, supporting each other, and finding healing from all the trauma of narcissistic abuse. And as always, I want you to remember this. You are so much stronger than you ever believed. You are a warrior against narcissistic abuse. And I want you to be tenacious and never, ever give up in what's important to you and what you believe in. Until next time, please take good care of yourself. I know you're here. I feel you, and I thank you for that, for staying until the end. I will see you very, very soon. Bye.